This may sound weird, but I'm sure I'm not the only one who has done this. Have you ever looked at your own eyes closely in the mirror and then realized that you can only focus on one eye at a time? As soon as you look from one eye to the other, they've already stopped. You don't see them move. Your eyes move so fast that you don't ever see them move. Well, at least mine do. Most of the time, our eyes are playing an all or nothing game. We're focused entirely on one thing, and then we're not, because we're focused entirely on the next thing. Our eyes dart around all over the place, but they're always focusing on one specific thing at a time. You can try to do this, but I find it impossible to smoothly scroll my eyes from left to right or up and down without my visual focus jumping from one specific thing to the next. Unless you are focused on something that is moving smoothly past you like a football or a car, our visual fields cover roughly 190 degrees from left to right, which means that technically we can see a tiny bit behind us on both sides, 5% on the left and 5% on the right. But here is something crazy. Only 2 degrees of that full 190 degrees that you can see is what is called your central foveal vision, which is where your highest resolution sight is. If you hold your thumb out at arm's length in front of you, roughly the size of your thumbnail is the size of your most detailed vision. Everything else outside of that rapidly becomes much lower resolution. It's not just about our sight though. A significant portion of our brains is dedicated to visual processing, which means that a large part of our conscious processing developed to focus on one thing or one area at a time. Think of our ancestors surviving in a world full of insecurity and vulnerability. Focused attention was more than an advantage. It was essential. This intense focus on a singular task allowed them to hunt, gather, and defend themselves effectively. We've inherited that same ability. Our brains are wired to be goal-oriented. It's also crucial for planning, decision-making, and learning new things. When we are trying to process too many things at once, our brains literally can't keep up and we become overwhelmed. We procrastinate because there are too many options. Or when we do take action, we make little progress because we can't focus on one thing for long enough. We haven't prioritized our aims enough to give us that intense focus that we need to make those real shifts that we're seeking occur. Imagine your focus like a battery, which every 90 days gets filled up with 100% charge of energy. And there are 10 different things or areas in your life that you use this energy up on. For ease, let's say that you use up 10% of your focus energy on each different thing in your life. But let's face it, in reality, you probably waste a good amount of that energy too. At the end of the 90 days, you've made a little progress in some areas, but no breakthroughs. You look around and nothing has really changed. But let's say the next time your battery gets charged up, you decide to put 80% of all of your focus energy into just one thing, and you use the other 20% just to maintain the other areas. What do you think will happen in that one area of your life where you've dedicated 80% of your energy to it for 90 days? You'd get to the end of that period and the results would be undeniable. You would have made more progress in those 90 days than you have in years. Or let's say you have an electric car, it's fully charged and you want to take a road trip to paradise. But instead of driving just in one direction using all your energy, you use up the battery power because you have to go to all these different places all around town, and then you don't get very far in the end. So you go home and charge the car up again, but this time you decide to put all of your battery power into one long drive in one singular direction. Obviously, you're going to get a lot further this time than taking short drives going backwards and forwards. Think of the positive vision that you have for your life. all of the parts that you've envisioned that represent your ideal future. Trying to focus on everything in your vision all at once is like scattering your battery power all over the place. Yes, you'll maintain some things and make some progress, but the true transformations that you want just won't happen. Instead, you need to prioritize your aims and choose just one or a few core things from your vision as your focus. Like the car putting all its power into going in one direction, you will direct the majority of your energy, that battery power, toward those few priority things. So start looking through your vision and start picking out those things that would be most beneficial, meaningful, challenging, and impactful in your life. What is that one thing or a couple of things that is going to move the needle the most in the short to medium term future? These priority aims is what we're going to be working with as we move into stage 3 of the Phoenix 90 in a few days. This focused energy isn't about ignoring those other parts of your life. Just like our ancestors still needed to gather food while they were on the hunt. It's about recognizing the immense power that you can unleash when you channel the bulk of your energy towards what will make the most significant change. This is the first step in actually starting to move closer to that paradise vision that you've created.